Welcome to the Diecast Museum. Today, a big change occurs for the museum. The rest of it currently leaving the Hot Wheels portion of the Diecast Museum, where we have plenty of illumination for filming and looking at the cars. Everything looks great in here. However, in the rest of my basement, I've always been quite disappointed with the 11 pot lights I installed back in 2011. Yeah, there was no overhead lamps originally, and so I put in all these little GU 10 or 50s or whatever they are, and they've kind of provide very spotty illumination for filming down in this area. I've always had to use auxiliary lighting, which has been a bit of an annoyance, given that it's a nice big open space with an absolute ton of die-cast on the walls, which of course right now are very hard to see behind this plastic sheathing layer. So I'm getting ready to install not just double, but triple the number of pot lights, all marked out on the ceiling here. Use my laser level for that. These are surface mount pot lights, or near surface, really just recessed into the drywall. So very easy theoretically to install. And just going to wire in, tap into the wiring, which I luckily drew a diagram of back when these pot lights were installed. So it should be pretty easy, and I've got the carpet kind of semi-protected so far. Shouldn't be that much dust. Have all my tools ready here. And these are the lamps that are going in. Currently, each of these lamps up here are 400 lumens. And these ones each are 1050 lumens. Planning on 28 to 30, replacing the 11, going from 4,000 something lumens in here to darn near 30,000 or more lumens, which is about 7 times as much light as what you're currently seeing. Here's the maximum lightage. And being LED lights, they don't use a whole lot of watts, so it's actually quite efficient, and it is going to be spectacular in here. It's taken 3 days of prep just to get to this point, moving stuff out of the basement and prepping it with all the plastic wrap. Time for an update. Day 2 of the wiring and hole drilling process. 36 pot lights. They're not really pot lights because they're flat as a frisbee, but they go in place of where pot lights once were. And I'm going to snap these into the ceiling. Big shout out to my dad for taking 2 days to work with me on this. We always enjoy wiring and doing little renovations like this together. Anyways, next time you see it, there's going to be some lamps in the ceiling. Alright guys, final update before you see the finished project without all of the plastic and tools in the way. And after that, I'll be getting the die cast back into the museum. Well, as you can see, all of the cars on the wall were safely protected by the plastic wrap. I've checked for dust, and there is none, so that is great. Not a lot of dust was generated during this project, however. It was still a good safety measure because there was some, and every little bit needs to be carefully controlled in a museum of this openness. Any museum, really. So now we're going to go through the plastic barrier here that I've created and show you the final. We'll look back on the basement here for a second. Check it out. So yeah, these are only at 1/4 power on the dimmer currently. A total of nearly 38,000 lux or lumens. I'm not sure if that's an interchangeable term. If you know, let me know in the comments. But it's going to be 10 times brighter than it was originally, with no shadow spots, as you can see, because there are lights everywhere. It's almost like an alien spacecraft in here. I can't reach the dimmers right now because they're behind my plastic. Even though they're at the halfway mark, it gets about 4 times brighter than this when they're fully powered up. If ever you feel like tackling a project like this for your own die-cast display space, here's the tools you will need in order. First, a well thought out diagram, triple checked for accuracy, and a pair of shoes, a measuring tape. If you want your lights to be nicely lined up so they're not all over the place, then you're going to want a laser level on a tripod, a drill with a dust cup over the hole saw of the appropriate size for your lamps, wiring fishing thing, I forget what it's actually called, fish tape I think it's called, very helpful to get the wire from one light to the other. A big spool of wire, obviously. As a last resort, you may want the old butter knife in case you get to a spot where you have to change an existing light size if you already have a smaller hole, as was the case in some of these. Now, it did tear up the drywall a little bit. There's a kind of rough one as an example, whereas the hole saw does a very nice clean job. Either way, I tried first with a steak knife because I'd left my drywall knife elsewhere, and that did not work out well. So make sure you go and get yourself the proper drywall knife if that's what you need. But all of these tools are critical for this sort of project. Well, guys, at last, after 3 days of wiring and drilling holes in the ceiling, installing lights, it's finally time to let Nina down into the spacious open basement museum for the Diecast, and we are under 38,000 lumens of light. It's going to be great for filming, and all I need now is probably a slightly newer camera. All right, let's take another look at this project from the other end. Coming around the corner, this used to be my dark zone. It was terribly dark. Never could get any proper filming here. Now all the cars are nice and well lit. I hope these colors are popping on the screen for you as much as they seem to be on my little phone here at the moment. There's the Hot Wheels room in their dark little corner, of course, with the lights off. Turn it back on. I used to think this was like the only bright spot right under that dome light, but now looking over here, it's crazy. Might as well be on some sort of starship. 36 pot lights, my goodness. It was a fun project. I'm very happy with the results so far. They're not blindingly bright unless you look directly up at them, but it's going to be fun to get everything set back up here again. And set up these review tables here. Well, at least one's a review table. Another one's going to be a sort table, maybe a diorama. We'll see. In fact, this room is actually brighter now than the Hot Wheels Museum portion of the room. So that is pretty cool. A lot of cases to fill, and that's going to be a lot more fun now with all this extra lighting. And we have an audience. Now here's another cool feature. With my double dimmers, I can dim one end right down all on its own or turn it off completely, or the other, or both at the same time. That's about 50%. And now right down to the bottom. So probably a little bit of a difference in illumination for you guys here on the screen. It's quite noticeable here in the basement. And now back up to full power again for a suntan. Nina's already getting ready for suntans. Little does she know that this entire space will be filled with die-cast in no time as we set up the tables and all of the die-cast totes that go underneath them. Oh, this is going to be fun, guys. Lots of cool videos to come. And I've got some new inspiration here to video a lot of the cars that I've been wanting to film that I need a bigger table space for. My Hot Wheels Team Transport collection, large numbers of Greenlight vehicles, M2. New stuff, as well as looking at castings from yesteryear on the walls here. And really excited to get into making some cool new videos for you guys for the rest of December and into the new year. It occurs to me this would be a great time to go up and look at all of these cases of Hot Wheels up on the wall that normally are hard to reach and have never been illuminated properly. I'm going to be able to show you these with proper illumination that has never existed before down here. Ooh, lots of reflections though. But pretty cool. This is the 40 years of Hot Wheels 40 car set. I guess that would be helpful to start with, 1968 up at the top. And yeah, a bit of glare, of course. Kind of blocking the lighting with some of my arm. And these were the cars that were released in each of the respective years. Oh, I skipped a row. We'll do 2 rows at a time because I got a whole bunch of cases. This is probably the most poorly lit of them just because of the size of this case and how close it is to the ceiling. Of course, up by the ceiling, the lights don't give as much illumination as about 1 foot down, just because of the kind of conical angle of light, 120-degree angle that light comes out of these lights, is always going to have a bit of a dim spot right next to the top of the ceiling, and that pretty much can't be helped. But anyways, that's the 40th Hot Wheels anniversary, and on the bottom of that lid there's a whole bunch of information for each of the cars. It would take way too long to read it all for you, but yeah, it's a pretty cool set. I've never opened it up other than just the flap. Now for a few more sets here. Let's go to Hot Wheels Garage 30 car set. What year is this one from? Again, we've got some information on the back side, just which vehicles were released in it. This one has the 5 exclusive vehicles at the top. And these are the old small style garage cards. So this would be like a first release. Some pretty desirable vehicles up there now. And then all of the ones without the packaging that are in this package were the ones available in the stores, individually released. So some really nice castings. I do have all of these on card as well in some of my totes in storage here in the basement, actually. So we're going to look at some of this stuff. I don't have any mint, well, I don't have any loose ones. They're all mint, but I don't have any ones loose yet. I've never opened any of these up. But that is a pretty nice collection. I wish that Hot Wheels would still do it like that, adding in some exclusives. The Garage series now don't exist, but of course, we've got other sets that, Boulevard, for instance. Yeah, Boulevard doesn't have any exclusives nowadays. So here's another older one, Larry's Garage, 21 car collection. It came with 1 exclusive car. The Passin Gasser. And of course we've got 4 rows of other really neat vehicles. I love that big old Duesenberg. And some other really iconic cars that were found in the Larry's Garage segment. There was also Phil's Garage and Wayne's Garage as well. This would be the first release, so before Phil and Wayne started having their lines of garage cars. I think that's 2009, and the Garage one, oh, it might be even older, I don't know. Might have those backed up, backwards. Since 68, Collector Top 40. So this is an older one as well. All these are older. Top 40 cars. And again, a ton of information on them. That's the information that you can see. First introduced, designer, the deco, and a little description for each one. Pretty neat stuff. 40 cars to look at here. I love the shoebox. That's a cool car. And the Baja Breaker, also really nice. They're all nice. I love the old basic wheels and the old white wall style cars. Wheels, red lines as well. You just don't see that anymore. Not that there's anything wrong with the new wheels, but there's something super nostalgic about seeing these white wall and black wall and red line wheels that look very much, if not almost identical to the ones that were released originally back in the day. Look at that little VW Bug. Isn't that a cool one? Oh yeah, that was a popular casting as well. VW drag truck or something like that. The 67 Chevy. There's the drag bus. So that would be a hard set to find now in such good condition. This has been on my wall since I bought it over 10 or 12, 13 years ago. So it's hard to find these boxes in good condition because normally people move around or they get put in storage. The corners get all crushed, but mine has just been sitting here hermetically sealed in this basement museum. Above that, we've got Greenlight. Let's do that one next, because then we have 4 more Hot Wheels. The only Greenlight pack that I know of, Route 66 15 Diecast Collector Pack. And on the bottom of the front cover, we've got a Route 66 highway depiction with some of the main attractions that are actually along this iconic driving route through the United States of America, starting in Chicago, Illinois, or finishing in Chicago, Illinois, whichever way you actually go, all the way down to Los Angeles. Yeah, so here we are at the top of the ceiling again. It's a little darker. But we're taking advantage of this 38,000 lumens to do something I never was able to do before. Looking at some really cool old Greenlight. Back when Greenlight was still just a young pup on the market. Getting their stake in the game. I've been a collector of Greenlight since that time. I've fell in love with their models instantly when I found out about them. And at that time, everything that I bought pretty much was from eBay or online because they were not for sale in Canada at that time. Took a while. But anyways, I still managed to collect a lot of the early release vehicles, including that set. Now into Hot Wheels. Here we go. The Hot Wheels Wayne's Garage, Larry's Garage, and Phil's Garage. Let's check this one out. Some awesome artwork on it. Again, 30 car set. I'm crouched down staring at the ceiling with this door open, so that's why the camera angle might be a little off. We're doing the best we can here at the top of the ceiling here. Of course, we got some shadow, but what are we going to do? Move them? Nah, let's just look at them. I wasn't even planning this, but look at that. This is probably the darkest one. I should move it, but oh well. Plymouth Satellite there. That's got to be one of the nicest paint jobs I've seen on that particular Hot Wheels. And we'll look at the exclusives here in just a second. But all of these cars were available between, I think, 2010 and 2011. So I got a lot of glare because of the plastic on the front of this, but that can't be helped. I'm not opening it up. There's the exclusive cars that were not available in the set. And a few more. Let's just get through this case kind of quickly because it's not really a great camera angle for it. Look at this one. Wow. That's the Pontiac GTO wagon, I do believe. Station wagon. And the Mustang. Some really... man, I haven't looked at these cars in a decade. I've got them all stuffed away in a box here somewhere on their original card backs. So that's that case. Gotta stand back, give my arm a little bit of a break here because I'm holding up high. And Nina is enjoying the show as well. Back over to the Hot Wheels garage. Now we're down at a more luminous friendly angle. 20 cars. Ford versus GM. And you got the Mustang and the Camaro on the front of it. And here we go. I can't open this one all the way because there's a case above it. So getting down here, kneeling, looking up. There's the cars that you're going to see. That's pretty cool. And we've got 4 exclusives here as well. I'm pretty sure they're exclusives. Maybe they're not. Maybe they just had 4 with the cards. I can't remember. 4 across. Yeah, no, those are not exclusives, I don't believe. I can't say for certain. But anyways, there they are. We'll find out later. I remember the Bronco was a pretty new casting around that time, if not brand new. Same with the Chevy Blazer. I was super excited about that one. I had to get it. Had to get every color I could up until I kind of got overwhelmed in recent days. There's just so much available nowadays with the RLC and other high premium, high priced, high quality stuff that I can't buy everything. Love the 55 panel. I think that's the heaviest or second heaviest Hot Wheel ever made. And I've got 2 of the original mainline first release. Hot Wheels Classics. I've got almost a complete, if not complete, 5-year classics collection in storage here somewhere. Here's the 30 car set with the exclusive. All these cars would have been available on single pack in the stores. 2009 it says. And again, same idea. First introduced, designer, deco. There's the exclusive, the Convoy Custom. I remember people were going wild for this casting. I don't know if they still make it. Hot Wheels, that is. I hope so. It's cool. I don't have too many of them. Grease Gremlin, one of my favorite cars up there, the AMC Grease Gremlin. It says first introduced 2008, but we know that it was actually first introduced in about 1980 or 82, I think. So that's the retool that they're talking about, first release. Tucker Torpedo, that's a cool car as well. A lot of cool cars. Oh yes, and the big old Ford pick-em-up truck with the motorcycle in the back. I tried to collect every one of those for a while as well. Oh, I gotta switch arms. My arm's about to fall off. Got no blood left in it. Oof. Okay, back over to this side. Just a wild, wild collection of older cars. Oh yeah, there's that Pontiac GTO. And they all featured this kind of Spectre Flame looking paint. All right, in the armor brake here. Down to Hot Wheels delivery. These 20 vehicles were all for sale, I believe, in individual packs as well, except for the top 5. They may have been exclusives, maybe not. No, I don't think so, actually. So we got some nice vehicles in here. I didn't really collect a lot of this advertisement sort of segment of vehicles, and I don't think I have any more other than what you see here. In fact, I know I don't. I didn't collect the Star Wars or Star Trek or any of the food or drink kind of liveries, candy liveries. I just didn't really appeal to me that much, and had to choose where I was going to spend my money and display room. So that's that set. And we've got my, I believe this is my great-grandmother's mini clock. I don't know if it's a grandfather clock. I'll call it a grandmother clock. Something let loose. Pretty cool clock, actually. This swings open so you can adjust it. Anyways, something I've never looked at with you guys before. Now we got all this lighting, I just feel like looking at everything. Finally, we'll just take a look at these drawers, because normally I can't get to them either. Soon I'll have a table completely in the way here. So what's in the drawers? Lego, mostly Lego. Lego parts, that is. No whole sets, just tons and tons of Lego bricks sorted by type for the most part. But I have utilized a lot of the drawers for the bigger things that I can't store anywhere because I don't have a shelf left. The big old M2 trucks. And Greenlight, larger trucks, and some trailers. I guess this is turning into a complete museum tour of this room anyways, not the whole museum. More Greenlight trucks, garbage trucks. I am going to do some reviews of clumping like castings together at some point. Check out my camper drawer. I'd love to do a camper video in here now that I can set up my road map displays and put the vehicles on them. Got a bunch of pickup trucks with hitches that just don't fit in the Plano cases, as well as the tanks, monster trucks. Oh, got one more over here. A mixture of trailers and tent top. Great Outdoors series vehicles. Here are the really long cars. Vista Cruisers, Cadillacs, Ford Torinos, Oldsmobiles, Pontiac wagons. Really nice cars in there. And then here's just a whole bunch of Cadillacs and Jeep JL, or what are those, Gladiators? Here's the big old square body collection and Suburbans. Definitely going to be looking at those in the near future with you guys, if you're interested. Big wheels, lots of big wheels. And then we've got, speaking of big wheels, here's my favorite thing to collect right now, are these giant square body dually Chevy and GM trucks by M2. The 4-door cabs, I just cannot get enough of them. That and the little Dodge D100 through 250 pickup trucks. Square bodies as well, Fords. I'm not biased. We've got a whole bunch of Superbirds in here, some really big Cadillacs. There's a real show car for me nowadays. That's quite a famous little car, I consider, amongst my YouTube thumbnails and videos. That one really, it was featured in the Claw Crusher video where it didn't actually get hurt. Here are all my camper trucks, the slide-in campers, I guess. Some vans. So there's some really cool ones in here as well. Probably my favorite one. Well, just some of my favorites. I can't choose the favorite just by looking at the top. And finally, some other random vehicles, larger scale. Things I just haven't found a space for yet and had to just get out of the way of the dust. So a lot of this just came in here. We've got some partially built Lego sets. There's one from my youth. The old Imperial. Uh-oh, get in there. Imperial thing. Oh, we got some more Hot Wheels up here. What's in here? 2008 Hot Wheels. I was just stuffing things everywhere in preparation for this museum update. lighting renovation. Alrighty guys, well I think that'll do it for the video. It's turned actually out into a video. I didn't know where I was going to go with it other than showing you the reno. I got to clean up this, put it all there, get all that stuff figured out, and then we can head on into the Diecast Museum. Well, Diecast Museum, the Hot Wheel room. But see, it seems dark now. This one's got 28 GU50 pot lights LED, spaced about 12 to 14 inches apart all the way around the room. Directional, of course. That's the difference between the new lights and these ones. These ones have a narrow beam. So this is what I was working with back in the day. When I did this reno, there was no overhead lights at that time in this room. It was just shag carpets, paneled walls, and crummy foam ceiling with all the tiles all bunged up and broken. And these are the big old Canon lights, 150 metal halide halogens. Makes this room quite warm. I have to turn the furnace completely off when I come sitting here for more than a couple hours because it gets warm. And there's the accelerators 426 garage with some trucks. That's going to go back out to the main museum where all the Greenlight and M2 are. Sorting Hot Wheels Team Transport. Finishing off a complete duplicate collection of the Team Transport here for an upcoming video. Yes, you guessed it, on the freshly illuminated tables where I actually have room to do it because they don't fit on this table. Not even close. There is a lot of Team Transport that I've been collecting since the beginning. I've got every one of them that have been released so far, mostly in duplicate. A few of them not in duplicate. But yeah, lots to look at. We're going to be looking at a lot of things. Going to clear and clean up this whole area as well. These are all my awesome old super rare Hot Wheels, the black walls and red lines, that either need to go back on the wall or at least first get a proper revisit, perhaps. Maybe even start doing the year by years again. I've really wanted to do that with the Hot Wheels. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling now. Let me know in the comments what you're most excited to see. Any suggestions you have. I can't guarantee I'll do them immediately anyways. But I appreciate your guys' input and what you're interested in. So let me know, and we'll see you in the next video. Happy hunting.